Thank you for coming out tonight. I'm Teresa Denmore, I'm the CEO of the Sheridan County Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank our Government Affairs Committee for putting these events on this week. And I'd also like to thank our volunteers for the night. We had Lisa Eichhorn and Norm Anderson out checking everybody in. And we have Ben Lightnum and Peter Clark helping up here with questions, as well as our moderator, Dave Schwend. Tonight's forum, I'd like to go through a few procedures with you. We will start with our unopposed races, and then for them to introduce themselves. And then we'll be going to County Coroner, County Sheriff, County Clerk, County Commissioners, Dayton Mayor, Dayton Council, Ranchester Mayor, Ranchester Council, State Senator District 21, and then finally State Representative District 51. Each candidate is going to have a 2-minute intro, followed by questions with up to 45 seconds to answer, and then a 2-minute closing. Chamber staff is up front, and they will be operating the timer tonight. Kim has signs letting you know when you have 30 seconds and a stop sign, and they are nice and big so you can see them. So we just appreciate everyone coming out for tonight. Our moderator will be asking all of the questions. So without further ado, I'll bring up Dave Schwend.
Can you hear me? How's that? Okay, so again, thank you guys for coming. We really got a nice turnout, a lot of candidates. That's awesome. So really appreciate it. And if everybody would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, foreign and unborn.
What's that? Okay, we can start with our unopposed candidates. If they would come up, please.
That's a nice touch.
I think it's important.
We will start with Katie Harris, who's running for County Treasurer.
Good evening, and thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event and to everyone who took the time to be here tonight. My name is Katie Harris, and I'm running for a second term as your Sheridan County Treasurer. I was born and raised in the great state of Wyoming. I attended Bighorn schools and graduated from the University of Wyoming with a bachelor's degree in finance and a minor in economics. My husband and I are proud to call Sheridan home, where we are raising our 2 wonderful daughters, and along with our dog, Oscar. Serving as your Sheridan County Treasurer has been an honor. Public service is something I take seriously because the work we do affects the people who live, work, and do business in Sheridan County. Every person who walks through our doors deserves to be treated fairly, respectfully, and with professionalism. I am running again because I care deeply about this community. There is always more work to do, and I want to continue building an office that is efficient, transparent, and responsive to the needs of Sheridan County. Over the past several years, our office has focused on balancing progress with stability, making improvements where they are needed while preserving the processes that already serve our community well. We've worked to increase efficiency, adapt to changing requirements, strengthening customer service, and build relationships with county departments, fellow elected officials, and the state. I want to take this time to recognize the staff in the Treasurer's Office. They work hard every day to serve the public and keep our office running smoothly. I am grateful for their commitment and dedication. In closing, thank you for your trust, support, and the opportunity to continue serving Sheridan County.
Thank you. Next we'll go. My bad. Next we'll go to Renee Botten, running for Clerk of District Court.
I am Renee Botten, and I am running for a 3rd term as Sheridan County Clerk of District Court. My office has myself and 4 deputy clerks in it, and then, like Katie's, my employees do a very good job. The Clerk of District Court's office performs several functions, and I'm going to list a few of those so you can compare them to my qualifications so that you can see that they both fit together very well. We maintain the records of the Sheridan District Court. We also open new cases. on a very frequent basis. In fact, from January 1st, 2026 to July 21st, 2026, we opened 406 new cases in our court. We also file pleadings, orders, and attachments into ongoing cases on a very steady basis. We provide assistance to the public. We do record searches if they request, we provide general information, and we provide pro se packets if somebody doesn't have an attorney or can't afford an attorney, and it's on a very small financial thing that they do it. We aid law firms and their staff. Every day we receive filing fees, we receive restitution, we receive bonds, we receive search fees, child support, and other payments daily, and we disperse them in accordance with the law. We handle over $1 million a year in our office. This requires daily documentation and accounting. Monthly reconciliations are done in conjunction with the Wyoming Supreme Court, and annual audits are performed by Sheridan County. We organize and prepare appeal records as required. We also have jury trials on a very frequent basis, and in fact, we have to hold 750 jurors every 6 months for jury trials. And I'm sorry if you're one of them, but I can't help it. In terms of my experience, I can't go into it, so.
Thank you. Now we'll go to Corky Knudsen, running for County Assessor.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Corky Knudsen, but I actually go by Coco. I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself. I was born and raised here in Sheridan County, actually grew up out here in Dayton and Ranchester. My husband, JJ, and I are blessed with 6 children, 10 grandchildren, and we have our 11th grandchild on the way. I've worked for Sheridan County for more than 20 years, and in January of this year, I was appointed as your county assessor. I chose to run because I believe the people of Sheridan County deserve an assessor who is committed to treating every taxpayer fairly and equitably. Property taxes are a topic that's on everyone's mind. While the assessor's office doesn't make tax laws or set tax rates, we do have the responsibility to value property fairly, accurately, and consistently in accordance with Wyoming law. I believe in being transparent, educating property owners about how values are determined, and I want to make sure everyone is aware of the exemptions they may qualify for. As your assessor, I will continue to focus on fairness, accountability, uniformity, and open communication with taxpayers, local officials, and our legislators. My goal is to ensure every property owner is treated with respect and has confidence in the assessment process. Thank you for your time this evening. I truly appreciate your continued support.
Thank you. If we can have the county coroner candidates come up, please.
I'm jealous of the grandkids.
Okay, we will start with our 2-minute openings. We'll start first with Robert, and you'll be second, and then we'll alternate questions.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome and thank you for having me for this forum. I'm Dr. Robert Bird. I'm your current coroner. 4 years ago, you heard me speak here in this gym, and you elected me as your coroner. The idea was, 4 years ago, is to build a coroner's office and move the coroner out of the funeral home because they look at it as a conflict of interest. So the process was, and here we are today as a separate unit, separate agency. We've gathered all the records. We got 4 decades of records. We have restructured the office to where it meets the standards of the statutes, of the standards of the national standards, and we have progressed, and we're not done yet. We're still moving and progressing, and for me, I've been appointed, and I sit on the board of coroners, and they set the rules by statute. So there's rules in this process, and we have followed those rules to where our office has restructured itself to where it is meeting all state standards, all national standards. And as far as for me, I sit on some of the committees. I'm a member of the Wyoming Peace Officers Association. By statute, I have to maintain my certification, and I have done that due diligently for the last 4 years. If I told you how many hours, and I'll tell you how many hours. It's 830 hours I have with POST. POST is the Police Officer Standard Training. It's mandatory by state statute. Thank you, Fred.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you for all being here today. My name is Kevin Sessions. I am a Wyoming boy through and through. I'm in my mid-50s. I've been a Wyoming boy for 50 years. I'm a mortician. I went and did my education in Chicago, Illinois, where I got a degree in mortuary science. And after I got that degree, I went to Buffalo and I worked there. And they also ran the ambulance service, so I was able to serve in the ambulance service and get trained on a greater degree of understanding the medically and the human anatomy in the body. Also the coroner's office, and that's when I was exposed right out of school to be a deputy coroner, and I was that in Johnson County. I left for a few years. For 6 years I was a deputy coroner, and then I came to Sheridan, where I met my family and worked for PJ King, and at that time it was kind of a flip-flop back and forth. It was Mark Ferries or Jim Kane or Ray. I mean, it was Kane Funeral Home or Champions Funeral Home is kind of how it housed the morgue for 70 years. So being able to have its own facility is the best thing that's ever happened, to be able to be right across from the police department and to have its own facility to be able to perform the services that need to be done as a coroner. And it's something that I've enjoyed. I've been doing it for 16 years. I was going to run last time, but a good friend of mine, and I thought he was more than qualified for any of us, Dr. Bennett, and I didn't run against him. My wife told me that I should, but I should have listened to her. But I'm grateful that I am being able to run this time. I think the office needs to be ran in a different direction. There's a sense of kindness and respect that to be able to earn it, you have to give it. And I've had so many people over law enforcement, medical, and even in the state departments that have asked me if I was going to run, and that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, we'll jump into the questions now. The first one will go to Kevin, and then for the audience, we won't clap until the closing statements. Okay, so the first question, and again, we'll start with you, Kevin, and then Robert, you'll answer the same question right after. If revenues decline, where would you make cuts first?
Revenues in the coroner's office. That's where the person who's running it as the coroner, you'd probably have to make sure that you did as much as you can to keep the labor costs down and be as engaged as you possibly could. Being able to bring justice to the person who we're choosing to best determine the cause and the manner of death, it does take a little bit of time. There's definitely things that you want to do to make sure that you do your very best to feel good about the decision that you put on that death certificate, and that the family feels comfortable, and helping them go through a very difficult process as well.
Thank you, Robert.
Good question. If the revenues are down, do you ignore the statutes and the rules and everything because the revenues are down? No. And do you make cuts? No. I'm not going to cut my staff. We're short-standing anyway. But you have to work within the means. But the key to the whole process is you have to stay with the standard and the process of doing the death investigation. We are death investigators. We are held to a higher rule, especially if it becomes a legal matter. We have to make sure that all our documentation, our T's are crossed, our I's are dotted for the legal death investigation.
Thank you. We'll move to question number 2. Start with Robert. The coroner is responsible for ancient and prehistoric remains as well as contemporary. What are critical considerations in handling these?
That's a very good question because it hasn't been asked yet. And that's the state statute 106. And so if you find human bone remains, the first thing is that's law enforcement. They usually contact law enforcement. And then the second is they'll contact the coroner. Now, what's the process is, there's an algorithm, but we don't have enough time. But we're supposed to contact the state archives and notify them and one of the elders of the tribe. So if by diagram, we're in the area of Crow Nations. So that extends all the way down. But we extend that courtesy. And then once we make the determination, and that's archives and everything, then we can extract the remains. But nothing's disturbed during that time.
Thank you, Kevin.
Could you repeat that for me again?
Yes. The coroner is responsible for ancient and prehistoric remains as well as contemporary. What are critical considerations in handling these?
Well, the utmost respect of anything that holds a sacred value like that is to be able to preserve it and make sure that it's not tampered in a way that until the right authority is there to be able to move them and extradite them. But as a coroner is being notified of that, and that's his responsibility to make sure that those remains are treated properly in the manner that would best secure and stabilize them.
Okay, moving to question number 3. Kevin, you will answer this first. What is the biggest misconception about the role of the county coroner?
The biggest misconception?
Yes, what is the biggest misconception about the role of county coroner?
I think that it gets labeled sometimes, being the last 70 years, that it's been a part of funeral homes, so it's kind of been a biased thing, so it hasn't really held its justice and its merit at times. And for being able to have its own facility now is so key. It's such a wonderful opportunity to be able to do the very best job you can professionally. That's the only standard that we have, is a professional standard of being able to conduct yourself with the deceased and those who are involved. And it goes big to law enforcement, to the medical community, and to all aspects of that. So being able to have its own neutral location, it gives everybody an opportunity to feel that there's a more service connected, and then as well as it gives families the opportunity to choose without it being having to be there at that funeral home.
Thank you. Robert?
Well, the misconception is a lot of people don't know what we do. But we're the people, we're 24/7. We get called in the middle of the night, either from the hospital or from dispatch, and 2 or 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, we go out and investigate. We don't know what it is. It could be an accident, it could be a suicide, it could be a homicide. You know. And then what? We do a full investigation. We're medical examiners, but we're also the last responders, so we're the last to be called. So our job is, by statute, our jurisdiction is the body. So we do a thorough investigation. We go back to the office, we do a thorough investigation. If it requires autopsy, we consult with our medical examiner partners. and then we continue on and do the full investigation. But it is a mystery to the public what we really do.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go into our closing. Robert, you're going to go first. You have 2 minutes.
All right. So bottom line is you elected me 4 years ago with the vote of confidence, and we are here again, and I'm asking for your vote to re-elect me again. We've restructured this office. We have this office running in the proper fashion with all the statutes, all the standards. For some reason, there seems to be a misconception that we're not friendly. We are very friendly with the agencies we deal with, DCI, Sheriff's Office, PD, EMS. They all come over because we have information. We share it while we're on scene. At the office, we're in good communication. We have good partners with the medical examiner's office. So if we're looking at a county, we're ranking in the top 3 of doing everything right. And if we don't have the answers, I can ask for the answers. I've been trained by the best. The best, all the books you read, it has to do with forensics. Those were my mentors. They taught me, this is how you do it. This is how you're supposed to do it. And we've been doing this for the last 4 years. Are we there yet? We're almost there. We're just getting to the plateau. I have a pillar staff of deputies sitting in the backpack there. They're the ones who've been doing the hard work, the investigations, getting the medical records. So I'm running for the office, but we're running as a team too. It's a team effort what we have done. So what I'm asking you is, don't stop. Let's not reinvent the wheel and start all over again at ground zero. Continue on with the progress that we're doing, and re-elect me, put me back in the office. I promise you, we'll all take you to higher ends that you will just be ecstatic for. And I'm proud to be your corner right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin?
Thank you, and thank you once again for everybody being here and being able to debate this. I've had 20 years of experience in the coroner's office to actually field service of being in more active, engaged, hundreds of families and individuals, and to determine the best cause and manner of death over the years I've been doing it. I think that holds a lot other than a certificate and sitting on a board. And I think over the time that we've seen and what I've witnessed is the budget has gone considerably more. The responsibilities hasn't increased. It's still about 70 to 90 on the average of individuals that need a coroner's assistance to be able to determine cause and manner. And being able to keep that budget where it's not just, it's gone up 88%, and it would have gone up considerably more, wanting an x-ray machine, wanting equipment that was hundreds of thousands of dollars, which requires more every year to maintain and keep that license and that certificate. We already have one at the hospital. We use theirs when we need it. So being able to have two, the Sheridan County designate 2 of these equipments, and as well as one who serves the community, it's something that really, to be able to ask for a double of your salary going into election year, I just don't feel that that's the right way to approach it. And I think there's a time and a season, and justice will be served in the coroner's office, and professionalism, just as it is, and being able to serve the county. I've been able to feel good at my stage in my life where I'm at, and to be able to, I've been honored to serve so many of you and throughout the people in Sheridan County as a coroner, and then as well as in the funeral end of it. But I feel that I've been seasoned over the 30 years, and I would love to be your coroner, and I sure would appreciate your vote on August 18th, and thank you.
Thank you both. Let's go ahead and move to the county sheriff candidates. follow the exact same format. And Levi, we'll start with you with your 2-minute intro.
Well, good evening. Thank you to the Sheridan County Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum, and thanks for all of you for being here. I'm Sheriff Levi Dominguez, and I've had the pleasure of growing up here in the Tongue River Valley, starting my public safety career right here in Dayton, and serving this wonderful community for the last 23 years. I couldn't have done it without the loving support of my beautiful wife of 17 years, Melissa, our 2 amazing boys, Will and Brody, and my amazing mother, Donna, who many of you know in this community as Granny D. Prior to being elected as your sheriff, I served 4 years as undersheriff and have been with the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office since 2014, where I served as patrol deputy, field training officer, hostage negotiator, community educator, patrol lieutenant, undersheriff, and now sheriff. I'm a proud graduate of the FBI's Rocky Mountain Command College and have attended many supervisor command trainings and conferences throughout my 23 years. These last 4 years, our community have gone through several critical and tragic events. And through all of it, I'm proud of how our community came together, but most importantly, how our local law enforcement officers from different agencies stood by one another, worked with one another to ensure you all are safe and receiving the law enforcement services you all deserve. Through it all, I believe the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office has delivered on what I set out to accomplish 4 years ago. Our staff's commitment to the citizens of Sheridan County has resulted in the re-implementation of our K-9 program, collaborating with emergency management and local fire districts to develop evacuation zones to enhance emergency preparedness, partnered with Sherman Memorial Hospital and other local providers to deliver programs within our detention center involving mental health and substance abuse, and partnered with the Sheridan Police Department to develop an active shooter response for all of Sheridan County. And I've continuously advocated for our staff by securing training opportunities and expanding mental health support for them and their families, and increased our wages to retain and attract qualified personnel. Thank you for being here tonight.
Kenneth, do you prefer to be called Kenneth or Howie or Howie? That's what I thought. Okay, Howie, your turn.
Hello everybody, I'm Howie Fitzpatrick. I am a United States Marine. I also am a retired police officer for the city of Sheridan. While I was in the Marines, I was an MP, probably the most hated MOS in the military. For those of you who know, nobody likes it when the military cops are called. Sorry. After I got out of the Marines, I came back to Sheridan, where I was born and raised. I spent almost 21 years as a police officer for the city of Sheridan. During that time, I've held numerous roles: firearms instructor, sniper instructor, Alice instructor, Raider instructor, mental health first aid instructor. I've also done just about every job that you can do while you're a police officer. I've been a school resource officer. I've been a SWAT guy, entry and precision rifleman. I've negotiated people out of their houses when they've been suicidal, all while pointing a gun at their doorway. I've done just about everything that you can do, just short of being like a detective or anything like that. So I'm running for sheriff because this is what I love to do. Service is what I've done for my whole life. I was a Boy Scout, and from the time I was about 11, I remember very specifically putting flags on gravestones up at the cemetery, and I thought that was probably my very first realm, or first job into a service type of a realm, and I loved it. And you might think it's selfish, I might think it's selfish. I don't think there's anything better than helping somebody who's in need. I don't think there's anything better than helping somebody who might be going through a crisis. And I like to be that calm presence that helps and can continue to help. So that's why I'm running for sheriff.
Okay, thank you. We'll start with questions. First question will go to Howie. How do you address personal recruitment and retention given budgetary constraints?
budgetary constraints are no fun for anybody. But if you know much about law enforcement, there's not a single cop in the world that got their job because they wanted to be a millionaire. They all do that job to help. And ultimately, that's what it boils down to. And that's the part of the person that I can appeal to, is the compassion. And remember why we started this job, why we got into law enforcement. It is not for the paycheck, it's to help. It's always nice to get paid, don't get me wrong. But part of that paycheck is the knowledge that you've helped somebody through probably the hardest time in their life. Nobody ever calls the police to say, I'm having a great day, can you come and talk? Right? They call because they're in the worst time of their life, and I want to be there to help them for that.
Thank you. Dima?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. How do you address personnel recruitment and retention given budgetary constraints?
Yeah, over the years, we've seen this within the sheriff's office. When 80 to 85% of our budget consists of personnel, when we have to reduce our budget like we did a few years ago by 7% within our patrol and detention divisions each, it becomes difficult. But our staff has done an amazing job of moving funds around and doing different things, reducing spending within our jail by getting a new medical provider that saved the county over $180,000 a year. And that allows us to free up some of those funds so that way we can increase our wages to recruit and retain attractive and qualified personnel within our sheriff's office.
Thank you. We'll move to question number 2. Levi, you go first. What is the sheriff's responsibilities, limitation, and coordination with the town marshals in Manchester and Dayton?
Repeat the question one more time, please.
What is the sheriff's responsibilities, limitations, and coordination with the town marshals in Manchester and Dayton?
Our role within the sheriff's office to provide law enforcement to all rural communities has been the same since I've been a deputy with the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office and now a sheriff. Is we're to support the communities and provide law enforcement to all the communities. With the Manchester town having their own marshal, we still respond. Our service hasn't changed. We still respond to over 161 calls of service a year. We provide 28% of our close patrols in Manchester are 28% of our total close patrols, and we have 4.8% more close patrols than what the calls dictate. In Dayton, 23% of our total close patrols are in Dayton. That's six times more close patrols than what the calls dictate in Dayton. So we're going to supplement that and provide any care or any service that we can to assist Manchester and Dayton with their law enforcement needs.
Thank you. Howard?
Yeah, I believe the role of a county sheriff is law enforcement, equal and fair all across the board. It doesn't matter if it's Sheridan, Dayton, Manchester, Arvada, Claremont, Leiter, it doesn't matter. The things that a sheriff can enforce are state statutes. Everybody has town ordinances, and with the right MOU in place, I don't see any reason that the sheriff's office can't also enforce those city ordinances in Dayton, Manchester area.
Okay. Question number 3. Howie, we'll start with you. What experience have you had managing a multi-agency response to a critical incident?
So multi-agency response, personally I've never led a multi-agency response to an active critical incident. I have participated in tabletop exercises at the courthouse dealing with, plane crashes or simulated terrorist threats or things like that. I did lead our SWAT team training several times. I've led different entry positions, different entry teams, sniper teams, things like that. All of those are critical incidents. And honestly, a lot of police work that you do is critical. As far as multi-agency, when our SWAT call-outs would happen, we would work with the Highway Patrol, Sheriff's Office, and the Police Department.
Thank you, Levi.
Yeah, three come to mind in particular. All of you remember in 2024 when Sergeant Nevada Krinke was murdered in the line of duty. That led to an over 30-hour plus standoff within the city of Sheridan. And I was there the entire time working with the special response teams from around the state to mitigate that situation. And then we had the Elk Fire and the Remington fires within the county, which involved numerous agencies across the state and nation to mitigate those, and worked around the clock, 30-some days straight working. And then recently, we had a plane crash up in the Bighorn Mountains that took a lot of multi-agency response and coordination to have a successful outcome.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to our 2-minute closing. Levi, you're first.
I would again like to thank the Chamber for the opportunity to participate in tonight's forum. In my opening statement, I had the opportunity to share with you my experience in public safety and all of the great things the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office has accomplished over the last 4 years. I think it's important to highlight the Office of Sheriff is so much more than just delivering law enforcement throughout the county. It's ensuring the Sheriff's Office is running smooth, overseeing and putting together a budget, jail operations, emergency management, community relations, search and rescue, and court security. These are areas that I've been a part of and have led within the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office over the last 8 years. I take all of those responsibilities serious, as does our staff, and all of those things make my vast years of experience concrete, not abstract. But what I find even more rewarding are the connections I've made with our community on other levels. As a member of the Bighorn Lions Club, board member for the Center for Vital Community, Sheridan Youth Baseball board member, liaison to the Doubleday Park, volunteer with the Antelope Butte Ski Patrol, advisory board member for Sheridan College's Criminal Justice Program, a Little League and American Legion baseball coach, and so much more. I'm a part of all of these wonderful organizations, not only because I have a passion to serve our community on many different levels, but it helps me keep a pulse on what our community truly needs. I have to thank my wonderful family again, Melissa, Will, and Brody, because they truly sacrifice so much so I can be your sheriff. During my first term as sheriff, I led our office through some tragic events that some law enforcement administrators will never face throughout their entire career, and supported our community as we navigated the aftermath. I'm running for re-election to continue that work. Some of our office's future plans are shaped by lessons learned. Some others are simply exciting changes that we can now focus on now that the dust has settled. I look forward to continued conversations and ask for your vote on August 18th. Have a wonderful night, and God bless.
Howie?
Well, I'm running for sheriff for a variety of reasons, and one of those is when I started with the police department in 2001, there were days when there were 2 deputies working on certain given days, usually Friday and Saturday, for our entire county, 2 deputies. Today, there are still days where there are 2 deputies working in our entire county, and the population has increased over 4,500 people since then. That's unacceptable. And there's been a turnover at the sheriff's office. More than 10 people in the last 3.5 years have left. I firmly believe that people don't quit their jobs, they quit their bosses, they quit their leaders. And I think that a change is needed. Change is needed to build that morale back up, to build that staff back up. And I'm the guy to do it. And I appreciate your vote on August 18th. Thank you.
Now we'll move to the county clerk's report. Okay, we'll start with a 2-minute opening. And Ida, we're going to start with you.
Good evening. Ida Shunt Thompson, Sheridan County Clerk and Recorder. I am your current Sheridan County Clerk and Recorder. I celebrated my 16th anniversary in April, and I'm starting on my 17th year. It has been an honor to be your clerk, and I love my job. I think the number one highlight for me is the people of the community that I get to hug and say hi to at the counter, that I get to see in the board meetings, that I get to help resolve issues when they're at their tough times with their personal property, when there's been a death in the family, when there's been a divorce. Our office handles that transfer of that personal property. Through that process, I've built many relationships with many of the attorneys in the county and learned that, I'm never the attorney. I am just the administrator and find a way to transfer that personal property as it needs to happen to take care of the needs at that time. So it was with sadness that my father died 14 years ago, Edward Shunk. He had served as your county fire warden for 14 years. He adds to the history of the service of my family. Service is in our blood. My grandfather, Dr. Will Shunk, was the county coroner for many, many years. He rode around with the sheriff because he didn't have his own car, but they did that together. My mother was the Republican chairwoman when it was not popular to be conservative, and yet she had prior past presidents come up to her and say, I know we don't agree on a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm going to support you. It was a party that worked together and got a lot of stuff done, and I'm so proud of her. Thank you.
Thank you. Christine?
Good evening. My name is Christine Temple. And the county clerk's office belongs to the people, not the person elected to lead it. If elected, I will ensure our office follows the law every single time. Statutes are not suggestions. They exist to protect the process and must be followed. I will work to eliminate the repeated audit failures that have challenged the office and protect taxpayer dollars by reducing unnecessary spending on lawsuits, outside interests, consultants, and bureaucratic organizations that don't look after the interest of our residents. The greatest asset in the county clerk's office is the team, the people. I'll build a workplace where our employees are respected, supported, well-trained, given opportunities to grow. My leadership will be rooted in servant leadership, trust, accountability, and teamwork, not fear, intimidation, or retribution. I believe a successful budget strengthens an organization, not just the bottom line. Good stewardship means investing in employees, creating real advancement for growth, means creating opportunities, retaining experienced staff, being responsible with taxpayer dollars. Leadership is about putting success of the organization and its people in front of any kind of self-gain. As your chief election officer, I'll be personally involved in every election. I'll ensure election testing is conducted according to statute, chain of command, custody procedures followed without exception, and that every ballot, seal, data device, and piece of equipment is properly secured. Secure elections require secure procedures. I'll make that a top priority. I'll be accessible. I'll be present in the community. I'll be available to answer questions, be accountable to the people who elected me, not because I'm the boss, but because you guys are. I'm Christine Temple, and I respectfully ask that you vote for me so together we can restore confidence and move beyond the status quo. Thank you.
Okay, let's start with very good boss. We will start with question number 1. And this will be Christine. Are there any circumstances under which you would support hand-counting election ballots? If so, what are they?
I would support it if statute demanded it. Currently, we've got a couple of new statutes, SF 113. That's going to be the first time we're going to actually be able to do approximately 5% of hand counts, random hand counts that are going to come from the Secretary of State's office. I know there's a huge hand count
movement, and I think if the people continue to fight for that, and they get with the legislation and everybody else, and that's what the people vote on and decide to do, it comes from we the people. And at the clerk's office, we need to be able to follow that statute regardless of what it is.
Thank you. Eden?
Hand counting. Yes, we finally have a law. I've been asked for years to break the law and just go ahead and hand count our elections. And I have to remind people I have to follow the current law. I don't make policy, I don't make law. I don't have that option. So I'm thankful that this is an opportunity for us to try the hand count audit, which will be after canvassing on the primary and the general. And then with testing, it's been an honor to do our testing this year. We have a young team. We made 2 human errors. The machine caught it both times. The machines did as they should. And then with observation of the public is allowed to observe, but they're not allowed to bring in their electronic equipment.
Okay, thank you. Question number 2, we'll start with Ida. Describe your experience planning, coordinating, and administrating a budget across multiple departments.
Planning, yes. Administrating, budgets, yes. So we have a budget election, we have a county clerk budget. What makes it a little more difficult and complicated, and took several meetings with the Board of Commissioners, is because it is not just one duty that the county clerk does. We do land title elections, work for the BOCC, do accounting, do Board of Equalization, which is happening this week, and marriage licenses. So with that, my team is just now learning how to do the county books. That's something that has not been under the county clerk purview and still not completely there. But in this year, I reduced my own budget by 22%. So that is something that I took to heart when the Board of Commissioners said, can you come back with another 8% cut? And I did it and exceeded.
Thank you, Christine.
So I was going to tell you a little bit about my background in closing, but I guess I'll bring a tiny bit here in a very short time. I have been able to, in my background, work with city, county, state, federal government, as well as military. I have done multi-million-dollar budgets with all of them as a former federal investigator with Federal Investigative Services to the DA's office. Several areas. So I have worked and coordinated very large-scale budgets across the board, private, as well as every public sector that we have. It's always it's always super interesting, but I love being able to get in and work collaboratively with a team. So that's something I really enjoy doing.
Okay, thank you. Question number 3, we'll start with Christine. Which duty of the county clerk do you think is most often overlooked by the public, and why is it important?
I think probably the most overlooked, not to take an answer from Dr. Bird, is exactly what the county clerk does. And I think a lot of times it is 100% dictated by statute. And a lot of times people come in and they want things, and I completely get it. We all have needs and everything from titles and records and all of these things, but county clerk has to follow that statute and that law. And so I think just maintaining really good, excellent working relationships with the community and being able to walk them through it so that they feel better even in those moments where we have to say, I really understand your frustrations, but we have to follow statute. It at least helps us to educate the public and maintain really good working relationships with them.
Thank you, Eden.
2 things come to mind. A duty that's required, sexual duties, to be clerk to the Board of Equalization. That is happening this week, where the property owner, you, can protest your taxes through a fair and efficient manner. There have been some years there haven't been any. Last year we had 1, this year we had 5. The amount of work that goes into organizing that as the clerk to the Board of Equalization and changing hats once again is really important and a valuable thing to the citizens, and I don't know that you know that that's one of the things that your county clerk does. The other thing is when people come in to get their marriage license, they expect most of the time that I'm going to actually marry them. And so they're very disappointed when it's like, well, I issue the license, but I don't actually marry you. So that's been one of those things.
Okay, we'll go to the 2-minute closing, and we'll start with Eden.
Looking back over the 16 years as your Sheridan County clerk, I have proven over and over to you at the counter who I really am, what I have done, and what I stand for. Proven to you over and over by your vote at the polls, and I appreciate that. I thank you for that. But I can't do this job without an amazing team. Have you met my team lately? They are amazing. We have had 2 people retire, and we have lost a lot of knowledge, but with that we've gained ambitious, excited, younger folks. And as I look at getting closer to 60 myself, I am just so thankful to find that there's still a younger generation out there that wants to work in county government and make that their goal and learn it well. The loyalty of my team is amazing. They have dedicated and come to me when our election supervisor left the end of May for a job in HR and said, no matter what happens, we're going to step in and work twice as hard to make sure that our election division doesn't fall down. So there was a lot of work, and I want to thank your city and town clerks, the town and clerk, Manchester and Dayton. Your clerks are amazing. I have to work with them, but it's a joy. We work together to register voters in this county. We're both registered agents. They then transfer that information to my office, and we work together on that. They're also your filing agency. So when you're filing for office for your towns in Dayton and Manchester, they file with your town clerk. They then get that information to me that night, and we vet it through the system, through this Wyoming Secretary of State system. In closing, I want to thank my incredible staff, my husband Mark Thompson, all of the first floor, Katie Aris, Coco Knudsen, and all of the staff on the first floor. We worked so hard together, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Christine.
So 7 years ago, my husband, James, and 2 of our 3 kids chose to move to Sheridan County to reunite with my family. We've lived across several states, at least 10 to 12 different states, including in Washington, D.C. And I can honestly say there's no place like Wyoming. They've welcomed us, and it's our forever home. That's why I want to run. I want to do my part to preserve this amazing community. I spent my career serving others. I started with a degree in political science with an interdisciplinary study in Middle Eastern politics. I worked as an intern for Congressman Buck McKeon. I then went and served as victim witness protection advocate, specializing in domestic violence and child abuse cases. I worked on the O.J. Simpson trial back in the day. As a federal background investigator for Federal Investigative Services Division, I conducted high-level national security investigations before moving into management, where I was able to manage 300+ investigators across 8 southwestern states, as well as Hawaii and Guam. Here in Wyoming, I've continued to serve my community as branch manager and security director for a regional credit union, and then as the branch manager for a large international bank. Those experiences have really prepared me to serve at every level of this office with integrity, accountability, sound financial stewardship, budgetary skills, strong leadership, and a commitment to public service. I believe government exists to serve the people, not the other way around. Government has no money. It's yours. It's ours. The county clerk's office should always remember who it works for. If you entrust me to be your next county clerk, I will lead as I have my entire life, with integrity, humility, transparency every single day. My name is Christine Temple, and I'd be honored to earn your vote. Together we can restore trust, strengthen this office, and ensure it always remember who it works for, which is the community of Sheridan County. Thank you.
Let's thank you. Now we'll move to the county commissioners. Okay. We will start the same way. 2-minute intro. We will start with Glenn.
I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Glenn Drummond. I was born in Buffalo, raised here in Sheridan, and graduated from Sheridan High School in 2000. My wife Jenny and I met at Safeway when we were 16, married in 2003, and built our first home here. I was working in the coal bed methane fields at that time. When that boom ended, my work took us to Colorado, where I spent 20 years managing retail operations, running diesel service department, working as a construction project manager. Those jobs taught me how to manage people, budgets, and tough decisions, and how to make every dollar count. Sheridan has always been home, and we came back. I knew I wanted to help shape this county's future. Sheridan County is a point where thoughtful leadership matters. We need to protect what makes this place special while preparing responsibly for growth, services, housing, and the needs of local families and businesses. And we need to do it with fiscal discipline and common sense. My public service began in Basalt, Colorado, where I saw firsthand what rapid, unmanaged growth can do to a community. I ran for town council. I was elected and learned that good leadership means listening, doing the homework, and understanding that today's choices shape tomorrow's community. I also learned that smart planning saves money and prevents waste. As Sheridan County updates its comprehensive plan and joint planning area with the city of Sheridan, I bring experience from similar work in Basalt, Colorado, Dayton County, and Eagle County. Strong planning for schools, law enforcement, fire services, hospital services, public works, transportation, housing, and local business keeps the community steady and keeps spending focused on what truly matters. As your county commissioner, I'll support smart planning, efficient local government, responsible services, a strong economy, and housing options for families, seniors, and the workforce that keeps this county moving. And I will always be a careful steward of taxpayer dollars. It would be a privilege and honor to represent you. Together, we can keep Sheridan County strong, steady, and ready for the future, while protecting the place we are all proud to call home. Thank you.
That's a blue Jeep Wrangler out there that's honking. That belongs to you.
Anybody got a blue Jeep Wrangler? Okay, we'll move Dennis.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a retired Air Force officer with 20 years of flight and leadership experience. I have a degree in government, and after years of study, I realized that Thomas Jefferson had it right. The least government is the best government. I'm running because some commissioners prefer high taxes and big government. I don't. I'm running to restore fiscal responsibility. The big spending commissioners have blurred the lines between want and need, and I will help redraw that line. Back in 2014, when I first ran, the county spent $16 million and had a cash reserve of about $2 million. Today, they spend $27 million with total cash reserves of $40 million. That's almost double the spending and a 20-fold increase in cash reserves. That's the very definition of high taxing big government. Those numbers were taken directly from the last audit that the chairman signed off on. I stand by my assertion, I wrote it on, I don't know how to pronounce it. I stand by my assertion that the county government is overtaxing us and it's your money piling up in those government coffers that are overflowing. Have your cash reserves increased by 20-fold in the last 12 years? We're headed down the socialist road to ruin if we don't rein in high taxes and wasteful spending. And the Brook Street boondoggle is a perfect example of that. I'm running to make a reasonable course correction back to fiscal responsibility and restore the founding principle of limited government. If we don't choose fiscal restraint now, we may be forced into it sooner than we want with bad results. And as I've said for 12 years, lower taxes and less government give us all more freedom. I'd be honored to serve as your next real Republican commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Christy?
Good evening. My name is Christy Haswell, and I'm running for re-election as your county commissioner. I was born in Buffalo, Wyoming, and moved to Sheridan in 3rd grade. I graduated from Holy Name, Sheridan High School, and the University of Wyoming. I have a certificate of applied project management from Villanova University. I'm a graduate of Leadership Sheridan and the Sheridan Civic Project. Beyond my degrees, I have over 200 hours in mediation and facilitation training through the UW Department of Ag and the Ruggles-House Institute, and the Wyoming State Department of Ag, where I was a state certified mediator. My husband, Regan, and I have been married 23 years. We have 3 children. Our 2 boys are both in Laramie playing football for the Cowboys. Go Pokes. I don't know how I ended up with the tackle. I enjoyed 5 seasons of wildland firefighting on the Bighorns and with the Wyoming Hotshots before starting my career in environmental consulting during the coal bed methane boom. The last 8 years of that 20-year career was as director of the Sheridan SWCA office, where I had the opportunity to get to know, a great archaeologist and an incredible human in Alan Hutchinson. His celebration of life is happening right now, and I had to give him a shout out. This valley has been front and center to the significant growth our county has experienced since COVID in 2020. It's important that government isn't a hurdle for our communities to invite businesses, be family ready, and provide services for our residents of all ages. I'm running because I want Sheridan to be a place my children want and can come back to. That means a robust local airport, childcare facilities, pathways that keep our kids safe, attainable housing and good jobs. As a county commissioner, that means being a proactive partner in economic development, infrastructure, and planning for sustainable growth. I would appreciate your vote August 18th.
Thank you. Holly?
Good evening. My name is Holly Jennings, and I want to first thank the Chamber of Commerce for holding this event, and all of you for coming out here. I know it's really warm in here, so hopefully this will go pretty fast. 21 years ago, I was blessed to move from Oklahoma to Sheridan County. This place is my home, and since the very moment we drove in on I-90, I've always loved it. I'll never forget that day. I got my associate's degree from Sheridan College in 2008, and then in 2009, I finished my Bachelor of Science degree in Billings at MSU. After graduating, I came back to Sheridan and worked in several different jobs. Most notably, I was a lead mentor for Volunteers of America at their Youth Home Milestones. I worked as a manager of Good Health Market, and I started my own photography business. In 2023, I was appointed to fill the county commissioner's seat vacated by Alan Thompson, and then I ran in 2024 to finish out the remainder of the term. I'm now running for my first full term. I've spent my entire time as your commissioner upholding the promises I made when I first ran. To be accountable, to be fiscally responsible, to read and research the information before I vote, to seek God's wisdom, and to listen to you, the citizens of this great county. I haven't changed who I am or the values I uphold. They are an integral part of me. I believe in the people of this county and state, and I will never forget the honor you've already bestowed on me to be your representative, and I ask for your vote on August 18th to continue that.
Thank you. Carla?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out this evening and for the Chamber for putting this on. There are times in our lives when it's necessary to stand up, to step up, to do something that just needs to be done. My name is Carla Cayley, and I'm running for County Commissioner. Let me tell you why. I am completely and utterly fed up with the ongoing unnecessary high increases in property taxes. At the current rate, I fear many of us taxpayers could be forced out of our homes. I want lower property taxes for all property owners in Sheridan County, residential, commercial, and business. We need sweeping tax reform and better assessment methods for all types of properties. I'm pro-business and pro-citizen. I assure you tax reform is possible without compromising essential county services, which is the entire reason government, especially local government, exists to start with. Optimized police, fire, and first responder services are essential services, along with a balanced mix of housing stock and economic opportunities are the cornerstones for healthy, vibrant communities. Unfortunately, our current leadership is failing us terribly in many of these areas. Our rural fire suppression teams are inadequately funded, our countywide first responder communications network has significant gaps in coverage, our housing stock is out of balance, and we fail to plan for preserving our agricultural workforce. Our current leadership has known about these deficiencies for a number of years, and 3 out of 5 have done nothing about it except raise taxes. I'm also concerned about affordable housing. I understand how the lack of affordable housing impacts our workforce and what it means for our upcoming generations. I have a plan for this. We can fix this. I believe strongly in local focus, local control. Many of you may know I am currently leading the community opposition to YDOT's Coffee and Brundage Concrete Center Median Barrier Project, which will damage our economy, complicate navigation, and create a number of safety issues for us all. I am also fed up with pet projects, and I bet you are too. I say enough is enough. I'm running for county commissioner because Sheridan County is headed in the wrong direction. We are losing our identity, losing our Western heritage, and our Wyoming way of life is in jeopardy. A change in leadership is in order. Thank you.
Thank you. James?
Again, thank you, all of you for being here tonight. It's probably not what you really wanted to do on a Thursday night, but it's wonderful to see this kind of turnout. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and the Governmental Affairs Committee for putting this on. They do a great job with these forums. I am Jim Shelminger. I'm a Wyoming native, born in Casper and raised in Glenrock, where I grew up working ranches and eventually the oil field to put myself through college. I received an associate's degree in business from Northwest College in Powell, a bachelor's degree in business administration from Black Hills State University. I moved to Sheridan in 1989 to work for KROE Radio, now Sheridan Media Marketing Group. I'm director of sales there. My lovely wife Cheryl and I recently celebrated our 39th anniversary. We raised our two children, Cody and Cassidy, right here in Sheridan County. Both are graduates of Sheridan High School and Sheridan College. Over the years, I've been involved with several community groups and organizations, including the Sheridan County Chamber of Commerce, 2 terms as Sheridan City Councilman from 1994 to 2002, a trustee of the Sheridan Elks Lodge, a board member of the Sheridan Travel and Tourism Board. I served 2 terms on the Wyoming Animal Damage Management Board, and I'm currently the Sheridan County Republican Party Committee. Now, I want to put my proven leadership and common sense approach to work for you as your county commissioner. My goals for the office are simple: to help set policy that will manage continuing growth while preserving our ag lands for future use, to maintain and improve our basic infrastructure, which is suffering substantially from the increase in use, and to wisely use tax revenues across the board to produce funding for essential services while providing for the general welfare of all Sheridan County residents. On August 18th, I would sincerely appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Harley?
Hey, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Harley Shuck. My wife and I raised our kids right here. Every one of them went to this school when this gym was still attached to the high school. They have since mostly moved on because there are no opportunities here, but the main reason that I am running is that we have a tax problem, we have a spending problem in the county, and we have a county government that is, I want to say, cracking down a little more and more on what each and every one of us is able to do with our own properties. I did a little exercise a while back, and I drew a 15-mile circle around the center of Sheridan, and I picked up every sitting person on the county commission, and all but 3 of the current candidates, one of which is not here tonight. There are only 2 of us here that are outside that 15-mile circle. I think the county commission needs to represent the people of the county and not be a de facto add-on commission for the city of Sheridan. We need a little more laxity, I want to say, probably not the right word, but we need to be able to do with our property what we need to do with our property, not what somebody in Sheridan thinks we need to do. I would like to see a little more freedom out here. I would like to not have to go buy a permit every time I want to do something on my property, and I'm sure everyone out in the county thinks the same way. So if we can get some more conservative members on this commission, then I think we can turn this thing around and get back to some constitutional principles and turn this back to America. Thank you.
Okay. Let's start with our first question. It will be Harley first, and then we'll move to Glenn. First question. What two boards would you be most interested in serving as a county liaison and why?
That's a wide open question. Probably the first one that I would pick would be the Predator Management Board, because out here in the county, that's a very real concern. We deal with them. We've had them running across our property, even some of them that were a little questionable. We need to watch out for the rabies epidemic that is moving through. The other one I would probably pick would be the Library Board, because I have a big interest in promoting knowledge and the ability of people to read enough to make up their own minds on things.
Thank you, Glenn. Can you pass that?
I'd be interested in the rodeo board and the fair board. The fair board is very important because the education it provides to youth in this community, from 4-H, FFA. Fortunately, the current commission just passed a placeholder for $1.5 million to help expand a building up there on the fairgrounds. It's going to help for future county fairs. And secondly, the rodeo is a huge economic driver for the city, the town, the entire county. It's one of the big festive events, and it's very, very important to the community, and you need somebody on there that's going to represent the community's best interest.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. What two boards would you be most interested in serving as a county liaison and why?
Maybe it's 20 years of flying, I'm sorry. What two boards are you most interested in?
Being a liaison.
Oh, sorry, that's easy, I'm a pilot. I'd like to be out there with the airport, and we've seen some great improvement out there. It's a beautiful airport, and I'd want to be on that board. Water, that'd be the second one. Water's vitally important to the West, so those are my two picks. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Thank you. Christy?
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of change the question, because there's some boards we can be voting members on and some we're only liaisons on. The airport board we're voting members, and the SAWS board we're voting members, so we're not technically liaisons, but both really good boards. The commissioners every year get together and talk about their backgrounds, see what experience they have and what boards might be appropriate based on that experience to serve. Lonnie Wright, for example, sits on our Sheridan County Joint Fire Powers Board, which makes sense. I've really enjoyed sitting on the SAWS board. You know, we're at an interesting point on the build out of that system. I know it doesn't impact folks out here. All the commissioners are on the airport board, and I've been enjoying the library board.
Thank you, Holly.
So I sit currently as a liaison to the Historic Preservation Board and the Parks and Rec Board, and I love both those boards. I'm going to actually kind of go off of what Commissioner Haswell was saying. Even though it is a voting board, I've always been a little bit jealous about the SAWS board and wanted to be on that a little bit. So if I could be on that, but I'd like to stay on the Historic Preservation Board if I move forward, because I love history.
Thank you, Carla.
Yes, thank you. There are so many that obviously it's nice to serve on, that way you can have a front row seat. But I would pick the Fair Board and the Library Board, and I'll tell you why. The Fair Board is so important. Through the Fair Board, we support and encourage our next generations in agriculture, and that is with our 4-H group. And currently their resources are inadequate, and there are a number of things that we can do, not only through the Fair Board, but also through the county commissioners in terms of land use planning to facilitate providing resources for children that would like to become and participate in 4-H, which is really raising our next generation. And the same for the library board. It's so very important to educate and expose our children to constructive, positive, encouraging messages that shape the future of their lives. So both of those I think would be very good to sit on.
Thank you, Jim.
Sounds like we may have a wrestling match for the SAWS Water Board. You know, I actually served on the SAWS Water Board when Twin Lakes was completed, and the system came online. At the time, I think Commissioner Kearns was the chair, and I was the president of the council. So I would love to get back on that, especially seeing some of the things that are going on with water right now in the community and some of the subdivisions. Also, the Fair Board. Children are awesome. I love working with the Fair kids. Matter of fact, I had 3 of them in my office today, trying to invite me to the sale. And I just love working with every one of them, and would like to sit on that board, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Going to question 2, we'll start with Jim. What do you believe is an appropriate level of county reserve funds? And what would you have those reserves be available for?
County reserve funds, and I'm all about having a reserve. I believe that you need to have at least a year's worth of reserve to operate the county. If something were to happen tomorrow, you don't know what you would need to do that with, so I don't know what that appropriate amount would be. Right now, it would only takes one major fire, the county courthouse to catch on fire, or something of that nature to drain that reserve until you get grant monies in. So I think it's always good to have that on hand, and that should be part of a good budgeting plan. What that number is, I really don't know what that number should be until I sit down and take a look at operations and what it would take to make those function.
Thank you, Harvey.
Well, like Jim said, that's without studying the numbers, putting pencil to paper, that's a hard call. We should have probably at least a year's reserve. Because like you said, you never know what's going to happen. That elk fire that blew through here 2 years ago actually put my place in danger. So we want to be able to cover that. We never know what's going to happen. We could get a terrible winter for snow, eat up our entire snow removal budget. So we've got to have something there to cover those expenses.
Okay, thank you. I'll come down to Glenn.
Having reserves is important. So currently the budget that was passed this year was $24.5 million. If you look at that and you want to have a year, you can use that number. And that'd be a basic place to start. We're not there. The county doesn't have that much of reserves. They've got a good chunk of reserves. But are we adequately saving for what we need for a major downturn, a catastrophe, or any of those? That's to be determined. But I think if you really wanted to put a number at it, if the budget's 24.5, then you put 24.5 in reserves. I don't think that's going to happen with the financial situation the county's in at the moment.
Thank you, Dennis.
It's good to have a cash reserve. There's no doubt about that. We all live within our means and hopefully have our own cushion, and the government should do the same. We need to be careful about how big it gets, though. Currently, from the FY25 audit, is $33.3 million in cash. I think that may be a little excessive. We might want to take a look at that.
Thank you, Christy.
Thanks. Yeah, we have about 16 million in reserves, with about 9.2 in our checking account. Gaming is doing well in Sheridan County. I think it's important to have about that year of reserves. Like we've heard from folks, you never know when something's going to happen. When you have an elevator go out, for goodness sakes. But capital projects are expensive. I mean, that's been a topic of discussion during consensus funding. 3 million in consensus funding is what's proposed for Sheridan County if this goes through this next session. That's not a lot across all communities for capital projects. So I think those reserves are important, and we need those to leverage more dollars for those projects.
Thank you. Holly?
So reserves is something that I really think a lot about. I have a savings account for any issue that might pop up, but I want to make sure that it's not too much. I would go with 6 months reserve, and I would make sure that we are putting our essential services number one for if something happened.
Okay, thank you. Carla?
Thank you. Yeah, in my business, I've been a business owner for going on 40 years now, and in my business, I always set aside 18 months, and I'll tell you why. It's a rolling impound account, just kind of like your taxes or your insurance. You fund it, and if you need to draw from it, you can draw from it. The reason I say 18 months is because if you have to have a substantial draw, then you still have reserves of that 6 or 8 months or whatever you didn't draw from. Now, 2 points I'd like to make. Capital projects are not part of your reserves. They're part of your deferred spending account. So if you are putting capital projects in your reserve, you're not budgeting correctly. Reserve should only be for emergency, fire, that sort of thing, an unforeseen thing that you need to keep your business running. And the County of Sheridan is a business. That's the job of the commissioners, to keep it running. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to question number 3, and we will start with Carla. What specific ideas do you have to address workforce housing?
Oh, thank you so much. I love this question. Okay, so the problem that we have right now with workforce housing or affordable housing, and I don't mean low-income housing, I mean affordable housing. It's different. It's for workforce, it's for retirees, people on a fixed income, not government subsidized folks. They have a different source. It's a different housing product. But what we have to do is we have to get our balance back. We have too many single family. We have 74% of our stock is single family owner occupied. We need more duplexes, triplexes. We need fourplexes, not apartment communities. I'm not talking apartments. We need those duplex, fourplex, and triplex homes. It's going to be with land use and planning. It's also going to be with permitting and how we build houses. So we need to be working at getting the price down so that we can afford to build them. We need to build those types of stock.
Thank you. Jim?
You know, in housing, the county's responsibility towards housing, I think, revolves around the growth plan. And that provides the necessary infrastructures to support for the development. I think that's what we do. Subdivision regulations that are clear and don't change from interpretation to interpretation from one to the next. We need to look at creating partnerships that ease the costs of development. You know, a plan generally allows for 1.2% growth a year. This last year, I think we had 2.1. We had a huge amount of growth. So, you know, the infrastructure for that kind of growth takes a lot of planning and a lot of thought. We need to figure out where that growth needs to go and how that needs to develop, and try to keep it as calm as we possibly can.
Thank you, Harley.
Well, I'm going to differ with everybody just a little bit on this. I think what we need to do is get the county the hell out of the way. We need to allow people to do on their property what they need to do. If we need to build something, we need to be able to do that. Central planning is a great thing, and look how well it worked over in the Soviet Union. And we don't need to bring that kind of thing to America, and especially to Wyoming. We need to allow people to do what they need to do, build what they need to build, and not tack a bunch of fees and a lot of inspections and government meddling in the middle of everyone else's business.
Thank you. Let's pass that down to Glenn, please.
So attainable housing or workforce housing is a difficult subject. Houses cost a lot of money to build. A good example that can help mitigate these things would be the current project with Sheridan Community Land Trust, where they own the land, the individuals buy the house, they do get some appreciation. Over time, owning your own home is probably the biggest investment you're ever going to make, and it's a very difficult thing. I came from Aspen, where we had probably the largest employee housing program in the country. The problem is you're capped at 3% appreciation, and you've got a mortgage that starts at 5%. So the solution is not easy. It's going to require probably a public-private partnership to make things work, and it's going to require everybody to come together, because one simple solution isn't the exact answer. It's going to take a lot of solutions.
Thank you. Dennis?
I solved this problem for myself back in 2009. I built a tiny house on a 30-foot trailer. That's not the solution for everyone, I understand that. But I want to make sure that the government doesn't dictate how small a house you can live in. Covenants in a neighborhood are fine, but it's not the government's business to dictate to you what size, what shape house that works for you. I want to make sure the government stays out of that business.
Thank you. Christy?
Yeah, thank you. I would agree with the comments made. You know, we had the housing assessment that talked about the needs that Carla referenced in terms of the type of housing, but we still have to pay for it. I think that's going to continue to need partnerships, as Jim had mentioned, collaboration to pull resources and to think outside the box. I think the work that we did with the Housing Land Trust was great. People wanted government to help, but they didn't want government to continue to be involved. So we were able to pull resources, create a board, and then set up a project. We're just going to have to keep doing that. There are some things we can't control, like the international building codes. That's not a Sheridan County thing. That's not a City of Sheridan thing. So, collaboration.
Thank you. Holly?
Yeah, I've kicked this one around quite a bit because one of the biggest things I hear from just about everyone I talk to is, you know, our kids are leaving. I don't have any kids, but everybody here who does have kids or grandkids, you're watching them leave because they can't afford to stay here. And I think one of the biggest things that we struggle with is that lower to middle income housing. I've looked around at a couple of the other states, and one of the things that I'm really interested in looking further into, Montana is really going for what's called rental-owned subdivisions, which are basically mobile home subdivisions, where people have the ability to own the land that they own, or that they have their mobile home on, or manufactured home. I think probably if we could look into some of our permitting and zoning to see how, change that, but I'm not for subsidizing.
Okay, we will start on our 2-minute closing, and we will start with Holly.
Alrighty. So this month we are celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the birth of this nation. Our founding fathers gave everything they had, pledging their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to secure a future for us all. What a blessing we've been given in the form of a government that was created to provide the best opportunity for freedom and the chance at life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We can never forget the sacrifices they and so many more have given that we may enjoy it. I fear that as we drift further from those guiding principles, the spirit of independence, hard work, and desire to thrive will further diminish. I believe there's still hope, though. Hope that the ship can be righted and we can turn back towards the land of liberty. My favorite line in the Star-Spangled Banner has always been, "The bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there." It chokes me up every time because despite everything, our flag, our country, and our American spirit is still there. But keeping it takes work and vigilance. When asked after the Federal Convention of 1787 what type of government we would have, Benjamin Franklin replied, "A republic, if you can keep it." Ladies and gentlemen, that's why I'm running. To continue to be that barrier that always stands for freedom against those who want to see bigger government and less liberty. To make sure we keep the republic that we all love. As I said earlier, my values and how I vote haven't changed. And despite what anyone else may think, I firmly believe that we need public servants who understand that you are the boss, not the other way around. The choice is yours, and I would like to ask you for the honor to earn your vote and continue to represent Sheridan County as your commissioner for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Carla?
Yes, thank you, and thank you everyone for coming tonight. I'm running for county commissioner because Sheridan County is headed in the wrong direction. I am committed and I am capable. I served as a Sheridan County Republican Party Precinct Committee woman in 2026. I was elected by my peers as a delegate to attend and represent Sheridan County at the 2026 statewide Republican Convention. I'm not a politician, I'm a person just like you. I'm a businesswoman and property owner. I was born and raised in a small town in Alaska where fishing, forestry, and tourism were the main industries. I grew up in a family-owned petroleum business. My first job was licking stamps for the monthly billing, back when stamps still needed to be licked. I was 6 years old. In high school, for 25 cents an hour, I stripped lead lines and mended commercial gill nets for local fishermen. I understand the value of money. My money is hard-earned. It doesn't grow on trees, and I bet yours does not either. At age 17, I graduated high school, earned a bachelor's degree in chemistry and biology, and a PhD in endocrinology at UC Davis in the School of Agriculture. After graduate school, for 14 years, I worked in government as a toxicologist and technical communications expert. As a private contractor, I worked for business owners, local communities, first responders, and wildland firefighters. I taught safety classes at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia. I bought my first home at age 23. I never looked back. I've been a commercial real estate investor and business owner for over 40 years. I know business and I understand economics. I acknowledge, respect, and admire Sheridan County's historical communities and its historical residents. I and my husband Richard, of 28 years, moved to Sheridan County not to change it, but to embrace and to savor the rural Western heritage and its enviable quality of life that we all share. In my candidacy for Sheridan County Commissioner, I recognize an opportunity to assist in preserving and protecting our rural Wyoming way of life for all Sheridan County residents, all communities, all taxpayers. As a lifelong Republican, my values and work ethic are grounded in personal responsibility, faith, family, and a highly developed, unshakable moral compass. I thank you, and I would appreciate your vote on August 18th. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim?
Thank you again to the Chamber of Commerce and the Government Affairs Committee and all of you for being here. And I'll tell you, this has been a great night. I've enjoyed it a whole lot. In closing, though, I'd like to say that I've traveled all over the country and visited a lot of places that were really neat to visit. But I never found a better place to live and raise a family than right here. As I pointed out in my introduction, I've lived, worked, and been heavily involved in the Sheridan area for 37 years. Many of you know me through my efforts to help our communities grow and thrive, and that means all of our communities. I'm convinced that there are many reasons why each of us live here in Sheridan County. Among these are low taxes, clean air, clean water, good roads, public safety, great schools, health care, transportation, and a plethora of recreational opportunities. Every one of these things are supported with tax dollars. We just need to be aware of that. Recently, it seems like a lot of these things may be threatened, and I'm running to help protect what I feel are the attributes that continue to add the quality of life that many of us live here or have moved here to enjoy. On August 18th, some important decisions are going to be made about how the direction of this county is going to go, and I would sincerely appreciate your vote. With your help, I'll bring my leadership skills and common sense approach to the office and work hard for you as your Sheridan County Commissioner. Thank you, and I look forward to your support.
Thank you. Harvey?
Okay, we had a quote here from Benjamin Franklin a little bit ago. I want to give you another one that's a favorite of mine. He said that the government that is big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take everything you have. And we need to remember that. All these things come with a price tag. Our taxes are going through the roof now as the valuations of all our properties go up. I am going to put in a little plug while we're at it. There is a way this fall that we can all lower our taxes. We can cut that sales tax by a penny. Right now, all the government entities in the state are raking in a lot of money with these valuations that are going through the roof. I would highly suggest we do. The reason that I got involved is because I see things happening and more control being taken away from the private person. Anytime that you have to go buy a permit to do anything on your property, you are essentially asking the government's permission to use your property the way you want to. And I think that's wrong. We need to go back to our founding principles and our freedoms and what made this country great from the beginning. So I'm asking for your vote in August. See if we can't turn this around and bring back some freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. Pass that down to Glenn, please.
Again, I'd like to thank everybody for showing up tonight. As we look ahead, Sheridan County needs leadership that is community-focused, fiscally responsible, and focused on efficient, forward-looking services. I believe in thoughtful decision-makings. I will work to ensure our county departments have the resources they need while being careful stewards of taxpayer dollars. Growth is coming, and it must be balanced. We need to protect the character of our towns, rural areas, while understanding the impact growth has on schools, law enforcement, fire services, hospital services, public works, and transportation. Smart, deliberate planning is how we maintain the quality of life that makes Sheridan County special. A strong county also depends on staying connected, economically, socially, and through the infrastructure that links our communities. Whether you live in Dayton, Ranchester, Story, Bighorn, Arvada, Claremont, Leiter, Ucross, Parkman, Wyoming, or Sheridan, we are one county, and our decisions should reflect that. We also must support the people who will shape our future and those who will build our past. That means creating opportunities for our youth in education, recreation, and workforce development, and ensuring our seniors have access to services, housing, and community support they need to live with dignity and independence. Locally owned businesses remain the backbone of our economy, and I will prioritize policies that help them thrive. I will support responsible housing choices for families, seniors, workers, and longtime residents, so people who make Sheridan County can continue to call it home. It would be a privilege and honor to represent you as your next county commissioner. Together, we can keep Sheridan County strong, steady, and prepared for the future while protecting the place we are proud to call home. I humbly ask for your vote. Vote Glenn Drummond for Sheridan County Commissioner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dennis?
I'll join everybody else and say thank you for participating in self-government, for being here tonight. The reason we should focus on taxes is because that's where the rubber meets the road. For most of us, paying property sales and vehicle taxes are the only contact that we have with the government, and it's usually a net negative. We pay, government spends, and it's always too much. Know this truth. All taxes are collected by coercive force. That force is only implied as long as we comply. But refuse to pay your taxes, and that implied force will become applied force. Don't pay your property taxes, and men with guns will evict you and sell the home that you thought you owned for the back taxes. It's the law. All taxes are collected by force, up to and including the point of a gun. That's why we must be so extremely careful about what we decide to fund with forced taxation. We shouldn't put a gun to your neighbor's head and force them to feed stray cats. Yet the board does that exactly that way today, metaphorically speaking. Forced taxation should only be used to fund essential services, like police, courts, fire, and basic infrastructure. Everything else should be funded by voluntary means. It's pretty simple. Taxes for needs, donations for wants. We need to redraw a bright, clear line between essential needs and non-essential wants. Then fund appropriately. We need to restore the founding principle of limited government and follow the Constitution. I see a bright and shiny future for Sheridan County of less force and more freedom. I'd be honored to serve as your fiscally responsible county commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristen?
Thank you to the Chamber for folks attending tonight, and thank you to the Tongue River Valley Community Center for hosting us. Congrats on your 25th anniversary this year. That's a big milestone. Our communities have so much to celebrate. We have incredibly engaged citizens doing great work out there. As a partner for our future, support from the county could be financial. It can also be approving that planning and zoning permit for an early childhood learning center, or submitting a grant for a school district or a nonprofit to get access to grant dollars they couldn't apply for on their own. It's facilitating a public meeting and knowing what stakeholders need to be there. It's being a leaseholder for the Land Trust Trail System on federal lands. It's commissioners showing up, rolling up their sleeves, and volunteering. I'm proud of my support for the TAP grant for the Tongue River Valley Pathway Project. As you all know, that's been a grassroots effort to provide a safe off-highway travel route for students and residents. That's taking care of community and being family ready. I'm proud of my yes votes to support the Tongue River Valley Community Center. Their after-school and summer programs support working parents and benefit kids. Their senior fitness, art programs, and senior trips support the physical and social well-being for our seniors. That's caring for all of our generations, and our seniors are a growing part of that population. Their scholarship program makes it possible for families and residents that couldn't otherwise afford it. I'm proud of my work with the State Land Action Committee to convene and then facilitate a public meeting regarding the Columbus Peak Land Exchange. I believe public lands should stay in public hands. We need to preserve quality wildlife habitat and keep hunting and recreation access open to the public for generations to come. I've been here 45 years and I've been volunteering here for 22. I have the right experience, education, and community engagement to continue serving you as County Commissioner. I would appreciate your vote August 18th to continue serving you, being a proactive partner in economic development, infrastructure development, and maintenance and planning for sustainable growth. Thank you.
Let's thank our